Good afternoon. Let's do some checks.
Absolutely.
Why do I
Good
always start my
afternoon.
live off
Great
like
Afternoon,
Friday.
this?
everybody.
Good afternoon and great Friday.
Yes,
We
sir.
always we always do this. Y'all, we be having to check our stuff. You have to check your audio. You have to check all of these things.
The whole nine.
Right. You have to make sure that is up and all of this different stuff. That's the way tech is, but it's fun. We enjoy this type of stuff. That's why we do this. All right. There it is. We're here.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna share this to my page.
Absolutely.
We are on here.
Yep, we live, man.
We live.
Great stuff.
Let's go on and give it a check on YouTube real quick.
Yep, we live on there.
There we go.
We live, baby.
We live. Good deal. Good deal. Well, welcome y'all. Welcome to the live stream. If you hopping on, make sure to drop a comment. If y'all can see y'all, if y'all can hear us, see us, and all of those things, make sure to drop a comment. It doesn't matter what platform you are on and where you're watching it at. Make sure to drop your comments, ladies and gents. This gonna be a good one. So y'all might want to get you a cup of tea, or some coffee or something, because it's gonna be a good one. Good one. So welcome y'all to the live stream. Today we have Gerald Bass on here as well as Antonio Millhouse. Fellas, say hello.
Hello, what's going on, y'all?
Welcome. So Gerald, just share a little bit about our vision, and then he's going to talk about our special guest that we have on today too, that we're going to be bringing on in a few minutes. So y'all, like I said, go on and get your tea ready, because it's going to be on. So Gerald, go ahead and tell us about our vision and our mission and what what we're trying to accomplish.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Gerald Bass. I'm actually the founder of the Rise of the 1%. And we're going on being in business now around about 6 years or so. And we primarily assist Black coaches, consultants, course creators, and service providers. We're putting systems in place online to consistently pat their calendar with qualified appointments and scaling up to that $20,000 to $50,000 a month level without even using paid ads. And our mission over the next 3 years or less is to create 1 billion, that's what it'll be, $1 billion in success stories amongst Black entrepreneurs. And these are a couple of our team members here on the live as well, which is Charlotte Cummins and Antonio Millhouse.
Hello. Good deal. So guys,
Absolutely.
this is a good topic, so y'all might as well get ready. Y'all might as well get ready for this. This is going to be a good one. So we're going to be talking about the educational system in the Black community. We had a little short conversation about it in one of our Facebook group. I think it was like about 2 weeks ago. But we're going to bring on a special guest today. So Gerald, just share a little bit about our special guest that we bringing on today.
Absolutely. So today we actually going to have on CEO Bro Henry. He is the co-founder of the largest national Black-owned entrepreneur academy, which is a private school. Okay, Kiefer's Academy for Entrepreneurs, grades kindergarten through 12, where every student who enrolls is required to start a small business, which generates revenue and publish a minimum of 1 book per year. Kia's ultimate goal is to produce 6-figure earning students while in school. Kia currently has students all over the country. And Brother Henry is also an author, professional speaker, and business coach. He also teaches entrepreneurs, coaches, educators, and organizations how to build a highly profitable private school without having a huge budget. So with that said, let's get ready to bring going with the CEO, Bro Henry.
Welcome. Yeah.
Going on, family? How you doing?
Good.
Hey,
Welcome.
definitely.
Welcome.
Blessings. Glad to be here. It's an honor.
Absolutely. So yeah, CEO Bro Henry, if you could, let's just start off with just sharing a little bit about yourself, where you're from, a little bit about your journey, and how did you get up to the point now where you have the Kiefer's Academy and the coaching and everything that you're doing at this time?
Yes, sir. I guess I always had an entrepreneurial background to a degree. Like I'll always wanted to do something, but I never knew. I'll share this funny story with you. When I was in high school, and the statute of limitations, I believe, passed. So let me get that out the way first. When I was in high school, a bunch of my cousins, I was living in DeKalb, Illinois, where NIU is located. And a bunch of my cousins from the city had moved out there, and they started working at a 7-Eleven. And long story short, they was like, yo, we can get you all types of inventory. So I was getting inventory for them for free, like candy, beef jerky, magazines, batteries, whatever. And I had a big duffel bag for basketball, but I would stuff this duffel bag with like beef jerky, gummy candies, candy bars, whatever. And I go to school and sell it. In my locker at school, I didn't have any books. I just had a price list on the side of the locker. And I used to sell to teachers, administration, the police in the school, whoever, because they knew I could get it to you at a discounted rate. So if it's $1 in the store, I get it to you for, let's say, 60 cents. So I was probably making, I don't know, $60 a day, something like that. I was doing something. I was doing numbers in school. And I even worked deals out with teachers like, yo, listen, I skipped school. I'm not going to be in class, but I also got that what you need. Your cat need cat food, and I can get you stocked up for the year for the low price. Let's work out a deal. So I was negotiating prices with teachers and whatnot, negotiating not being in school. I was, making it happen. And a funny story, police did they used to shut the schools down, do the drug searches. They bring the dogs in. So they brought the dogs in one day, and I'm in my class, and I got a duffel bag full of hot goods. And I'm like, yo, this is not good. Yeah. The police come to my classroom. They bring the dog into the aisle. Dog gets to my bag, starts going crazy. Now, meanwhile, my guy next to me, that's one of my homies, he actually got weed on him. He's actually, he's about that life. He doing his thing. But I got this duffel bag full of goods. The dog, we're sitting next to each other. The dog starts going crazy. And police like, yo, between y'all, what's going on? So I was like, oh, you know what? I go in my bag like he probably smells this beef jerky. And the cop was like, oh, we use beef jerky to train him. So I gave the cop a free beef jerky. He let my man go. So entrepreneurship kept my man from getting locked up that day. And because they was there searching for drugs, he asked me a question like, yo, that's a lot of candy. I was like, yeah, I got a sweet tooth. And I kind of got out that jam. But like, that was like one of my first run-ins with entrepreneurship, right? And I like the feeling of like being able to go independently do something on my own, and I didn't need nobody. Of course, that business model can't sustain itself because we actually put the business out of business. But it was my first run-in with entrepreneurship, and I love that feeling of like being able to be my own boss and negotiate stuff and set up prices, and I control the market. And like other children would try to come to school and sell candy, I just undercut them. And I knew I had access to more resources than they did. So I'm like, listen, they selling a bag of Sour Patch Kids for $1. I'll get you a bag of Sour Patch Kids plus a free beef jerky for $1.25 if you rock with me. So nobody else could sell because I was out. I had the market set up. So I was, that was high school. And it's kind of it. After high school, me and some of my friends, we had started like a DJing company and a cleaning service. And I was doing like all the business aspects of it, all the paperwork. We used to get a lot of DJing gigs because we was on the campus, but we didn't really make too much money or nothing. And then that was kind of like my first touches at entrepreneurship, but I didn't really stick with it. I tried going to school, but the streets was calling, so I ended up doing other activities that made a little bit more money than college. So I had dropped out. So I never finished college. From there, I got married young. I did a lot, but the thing for me was from like my 20s into my 30s, because nobody had taught me entrepreneurship and I wasn't around business-minded people. I had, when I wrote my first book, I talked about the fact that I was fired from like 25 jobs. And I would get a job and I would start working it, and I would end up being like stir crazy on the job. Cause like my mind is always moving, but it'd be like, I'd be working at Walmart stocking the shelves. And it was like, yo, this ain't it. Like, I know I'm supposed to do something with my life, but this ain't it. Matter of fact, Walmart one day, like 2:00 in the morning, everybody's supposed to go out and get the carts in the lot. So I used to set my brakes up so I could take like a break right before that happened. So I could like break all the way through it. So I never had to do it. So one day I went out and did it, and I fell asleep in the car, man. I threw on some Dusties, man. It was like old school, man. They was jamming too, man. I don't know what they was playing. OJs, I don't know what it was. They was jamming. I fell asleep in the car. I was supposed to be working 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. I fell asleep in my car like around 2 o'clock in the morning. I woke up at like 6:50. I'm like, yo, I'm about to get fired again. My wife gonna kill me again. Like, it's about to, like, I run inside Walmart. I run to my aisle that I was supposed to be stocking. The manager, like a minute later, the manager pops out and she's like, yo, you did the best job tonight you've ever done. She's like, I've never seen you zone your aisles this good before. Like, keep the improvements going. And at that moment, instant depression kicked in because I realized, like, yo, no one even missed me. They didn't even realize I was gone. Like, I'm so invaluable to this company that I slept through the entire shift and I got awarded for the best job I ever did. I was like, fam, this ain't it. Like, just depression, right?
Yeah.
And
You're a number.
Just a number, just a stat. So I'm like, yo, this ain't it. So I just kept trying jobs, and all the different jobs I get. Like, I had a factory job. I got this factory job working for Johnson Controls, who works with Chrysler. And I was supposed to put like seats on the conveyor belt. The first day I worked there was orientation. The second day I just observed. The third day I finally got to go to work. I got fired on the third day. It was like at the end of the day, they was like, yo, the whole line you did is wrong. We got to go back for a whole day's production and redo everything because of you. You're fired. I was like, yo, I just did what they told me to do. But that type of stuff that was out of my control. I'm like, I kept the job for 3 days. Like, it happened like just over and over and over. And to me, the universe kept sending me the same message and I just kept ignoring it. Like, yo, you got to be your own boss. You got to figure it out. You got to be your own boss. But there was nobody around me to teach me entrepreneurship. And so, man, I just, I wasn't in the streets like that. At least once I got older, like past high school, I wasn't in the streets or nothing like that, but just trying to be legit, trying to figure it out, trying to get jobs to make it happen. Cause I heard, if you get a good job, you can make things happen. I only recall having 2 jobs that I actually even liked out of all those 25, and everything from foreclosures, man, repossessions, evictions, gas being cut off, lights being cut off. We were so poor at one time. Me and my wife used to have to sneak up to the YMCA before they closed just to sneak in the back to take a shower because the water was off, and it's the only way we could, stay. So we wasn't homeless, but we just had a big fancy box because there wasn't no lights in that piece. No water, no gas, no electricity. You just got a nice shell, right? So, man, extreme poverty, man. Like we all of it, man. The link to the point where, like, we had to ask they got like emergency cash you can get through Link, and I'm like, yo, we need all that because we can't pay no bills, and I'm getting like all the assistance programs and all that, and like I knew that I didn't want to live life like this, but I didn't know a way out. And it's crazy because I would see successful people and I'm like, yo, how do they do that? Like, so fast forward, what really changed my life is my wife put me onto something. She was like, yo, you can't keep a job. And she's a matter of fact, let me give salute to my wife because the fact that she stayed down through all of this, I was like, woo, you a soldier. I would have been gone if I had to do it with me. Right. But the crazy part is through all of this, though, I was very active in my community, like very active, helping people out, helping families, like doing a lot for a lot of people. I love helping people. And there's tons of, probably hundreds of families that could be like, yo, he helped us with this, helped us with that. Like I was active in the community, helping people, but at the same time, I couldn't figure out my own situation. So my wife put me on to refereeing, and refereeing kind of changed my life because when refereeing came about, it was the first time I saw that I could set my own schedule, negotiate contracts, work when I wanted to work, and I didn't have a boss. So I love that feeling. And at the same time, she put me on to that. Me and my wife, we met this guy. I won't say his name because he's a hater. We met this guy. He had his own cosmetic line. He invited me to his office. And he's like, yo, come see what I do. So I came to his office. And I was like, you work here? He had on like a t-shirt, some jogging pants. I'm like, you work here? He's like, yeah. He's like, I just make cosmetics and sell them, whatever. And I was like, fam, man, put me on. So I wanted to introduce my wife. So I brought my wife to him. My wife was like, she came and met him. And she was like, yo, I got an idea for a product. Can you help us make a product? So he's like, yeah. So of course we started our product line, which was a liquid black soap. So we started this liquid black soap, and that first week, I did some research, found out how it works. The first week that we made it, I remember selling. I had this guy named Mo, who's in one of my organizations. and he had real bad psoriasis that for like 10 years he could never find a solution. Went to the doctor, had steroids, all these different things. He bought a bottle for me just to support, because it wasn't like it was a known product or nothing. And he came back to me like 3 days later, like, fam, I used your product, and it's the first thing that's treated my condition in 10 years. So he came and bought like 2 boxes from me. And at that point, I realized, like, yo, we onto something. Like, I didn't fully know still, but I knew we was onto something. So we worked our way up. I didn't, my background, just so you could tell probably from how I talk, it's a little bit hood. So Walmart had this process that go through the website or whatever, and you can, get your products in the Walmart stores. Well, I know nothing about that. So I just popped in like, yo, where's the store manager? It's like, we're going to bring her to you. I was like, yo, I got this product that's killing in my city. We've been selling like crazy. I got numbers, and I got this PowerPoint I need you to see. I put on my laptop on the spot. She's like, I'm busy. I'm like, it's only going to be 5 minutes. I gave her my PowerPoint presentation in 5 minutes. She was blown away. She was like, yo, I'm going to invite you to the regional meeting with all the Walmarts in the area. It's like 8 Walmarts. I'm like, cool, we own. Now I'm setting up in my mind, we about to go make a killing selling these products, get to the spot. And the business partner that I had at the time, he tried to snake us at the table. All the Walmarts I presented to all the Walmarts the product, the same PowerPoint. Everybody wanted it. They signed a contract right there on the spot. And then my business partner was like, what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna make $1.25 a bottle. You and your wife can make a quarter, and I'm gonna bring my guy in. He'll make a 20 cent on a bottle. And I'm like, huh? Numbers, $1.20. I'm like, we did all the work. Like So we cut that tie. Left him completely, didn't take nothing with us but the name Kika First. Rebranded our entire product line. We went from 2 bottles to like 69 products, and our products were selling so crazy that we were able to open up a beauty supply store. Our beauty supply store, it was okay. Me and my wife, neither one of us is into fashion or nothing like that. We really know nothing about it, but I got a coach, and that's when my life changed. I got a coach named Professor Devin Robinson out of Atlanta. He's the CEO of Beauty Supply Institute. And Devin Robinson is responsible for 25% of the Black-owned beauty supply stores in the country. They all come out of BSI. So I seen this dude, and that was the most life-changing thing ever. He had all these books that he wrote, and I was like, yo, I've never seen your books before. He's like, you can only buy them through me. He's like, I don't sell through a major publisher. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, it's crazy. Like, he's like, I get 100% of my profit. So I'm like, yo, what's going on? So hired him, went to his conference in Atlanta, started working on building out our beauty supply store. Beauty supply store came up. It was in national news because, Black-owned beauty supply stores are like unicorns. Yeah. First time I was in the national news, it was crazy. I'm like, yo. And in the midst of the beauty supply store, there's like 8 or 9 other beauty supply stores in my city. So I'm like, okay, I got to compete with the Asians on a whole different level now, because my store is the smallest, but it's Black-owned. So I'm like, we got to figure something out. And in the midst of that happening, I really started like getting into entrepreneurship, because the coach I had was just showing me stuff I'd never seen before. Like, yo, did you ever read this book? I'm like, no, what's Think and Grow Rich, huh? Yeah. Then I'm like, so seeing Think and Grow Rich like changed my life. I'm like, yo. So I started getting into coaching. I didn't know my value. I'm like, yo, $25 an hour. I'm doing hour sessions, and I'm realizing like, yo, this ain't it. $25 an hour ain't no money. Like, I'm still broke. Like, I didn't help 8 people, got receipts, and I ain't got no money. So, my wife was like, it's better than the days when you wasn't working. It's better than being fired, but you got to figure it out. So in the midst of that, long story short, fast forward now to the future, our beauty supply store had 2 floors, had upstairs, downstairs. The upstairs we would rent out for events or whatever. But I realized, talking to my wife one day, like, yo, we only get rentals on like Fridays and Saturdays and sometimes Sundays for like parties and birthday power parties, stuff like that. I'm like, yo, what if we can make money up there Monday through Friday? So our first thought was, yo, what is everybody doing in the daytime Monday through Friday? A school. So I went, looked the information up, found out a school costs anywhere between $300,000 to $500,000 to $1 million to start. So I was like, well, put that idea away. We ain't on that. Like, we can't do no school. We ain't got it like that. Yeah. But the way the universe works, man, my wife happened to meet this sister who had a school. She had 1 student. So we were perplexed. Like, is it a homeschool network? She's like, no, I have a school. It's an official school. Like, how do you have a school with 1 student? Like, where's her teachers at? Like, where's her classmates at? What's going on? And She started giving us the game on how our school worked. And it dawned on us like, yo, we don't need $1 million to run a school. We just need to do it. We need to copy the blueprint that she has. So we was like, yo, can you put us on? She gave us the game on how she was running her school. So we was like, okay, if we run a school we got to have something to make our school stand out. So he's like, what can we do differently? We're like, well, I'm in entrepreneurship. We doing coaching now. Let's do where every student has to start a small business. We'll help students start a business and they can start making money while they're in school. So he was like, cool. So I'm looking for other schools to see who does what we do. And I'm like, okay, I don't see nobody, but there's programs, there's all these different things people have that teach children entrepreneurship. We need more than that. So my wife was like, yo, what if every child also got to write a book, right? Because then we can establish the publishing company. And then every time we help people out, we can make passive income and push our students to sell books. They can make money. We can make money. It can be a community thing. The money can go back into the school and fund their tuition. I'm like, yo, that's dope. So we get the books pop off, the business pops off, and above our beauty supply store on our second floor, we started off with 7 students. 7 students. One was my daughter, and one was the little boy we babysat. And then we got 5 more. But we was on the news. We was everywhere. I was doing all my entrepreneur stuff that I knew. And from there, we set a goal, said, let's outgrow this space in 1 semester. And we, I didn't know nothing about, the thing's crazy. I didn't know nothing about like manifestation or vision boards and nothing like that. And I told my wife, I said, not only are we going to outgrow the space in 1 semester, we're going to move into the Black-owned community center out here because it'll be a good partnership for the Black-owned school. We're the only one in the Black-owned community center. And so we said it. Our school started going crazy. We outgrew the space quickly. Like people started hearing about the school, children started enrolling. And I went to this program that the Black-owned community center had. And the lady that ran the program was like, she walked up to me out the blue and she was like, hey, I heard about your school. What do you think about bringing your school over here? Because we both can use the press. It'd be a good marriage if you bring your school here. And I didn't know nothing about manifestation. I didn't even heard the word, but I was like, yo, we just said it and it happened. And we was picking up on this thing like, yo, we can say something and make it. And like, if we believe it strong enough, we can make it happen. And so as the school started growing, according to the school district, we're the fastest growing private school in the history of the city. And from there, it's been forward progress ever since. Like we've been growing fast ever since. Then when COVID happened, we started, when COVID happened and we went virtual, we started picking up students from across the country. So I'm like, yo, we got students in Atlanta. We got students in Detroit. We got students in Houston. Like, yo, this is crazy. Like, folks is paying us money to send us their children virtually. And the crazy part is, this year, our virtual students destroyed our in-person students. So people were saying virtual school didn't work. So we had a little girl in California, just turned 7 years old. She completed the 1st grade, the 2nd grade, and half of 3rd grade in 1 school year virtually. And because she's in California, she wouldn't get on until 10 a.m. She was only in school for 2 hours a day. In 2 hours a day, she completed 2.5 grades because the system works, right? And it's what we put into the children, is what they're getting. She was 7 years old. She was also she was like the valedictorian we had for graduation this year because she just killed it. We got other students now who they'll graduate early because it doesn't take 18 years to get what you get in school. Like if you look at education, you can synthesize kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, then high school courses. And when you really pour into our children, man, they like our children are great and they're brilliant, and all they need is the right environment, the right people pouring into them. They just need the right information. And children that you think are like the worst of children, all of a sudden become the best of children. And it's been an enjoyable, just crazy, wild experience to get to this point where we're at now. And man, I'm really looking forward to the future. So that's I gave y'all the long version of, the story, how we got to where we at right now.
Wow. That's big, man.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
Yes.
So,
Definitely.
pretty much starting off, let's just go back to the beginning. Starting off pretty much selling candy.
Right. Candy.
Basically being the kingpin in school in reference to candy.
Facts.
And then you went on to college and you say that didn't really too much work out.
I got good grades too. I was an A student, but I was like, man, it's for the birds. This ain't for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Gotcha. And then you went on to start to work jobs, like you say, you worked at Walmart. And you discovered there that pretty much like Charlotte said, you just pretty much was a number.
Yeah.
Because you literally slept in your car for all these hours and came back and the lady was literally praising you for doing a great job.
Yeah. Wow.
Yo, that I still feel that pain today.
It's insane.
funny.
It's insane.
Yeah. And I can even relate to what you was talking about in terms of the company you work with, in terms of like the production line or what have you. Yeah. I worked a few temp jobs several years ago when I had some bumps in the road in terms of my entrepreneurial journey. And I remember as well literally getting fired within the first week because they said I wasn't moving fast enough for the little change they was paying me per hour. And I knew, I was like, you know what? That's why I'm destined to be a entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
I can't do this job thing, so I got to make it work. So I can relate to that as well. And then you say pretty much you went on to become a referee.
Yes. So refereeing was happening refereeing was really how I was making money. Our store was making, like, we had a big boom up front, and then like sales dropped until COVID. Actually, when COVID happened, when COVID happened, this is how I knew we was onto something. The governor shut down. They sent out a list in Illinois of all stores that had to shut down, and beauty supplies was on there. But me and my wife was like, "Nah, we gonna figure it out." So we figured out a way to be the only beauty supply store that the city allowed to stay open. So during COVID, like, I would get to my store and it would literally be hundreds of people wrapped around the block, like literally women outside. This is the only place you could get hair, products, wigs, anything. Everything else was shut down. But we had masks, gloves, alcohol, toilet paper. Like, we made so much money during COVID that I was like, yo, we got to figure this entrepreneur thing out. Like, it's something to it. Like, the first time we might have made like $60,000 in that month. And I was like, yo, we ain't never made 60 racks in a month. Like, on God. And my family, we ain't never made, like, so for me, it was a big deal. And I remember sharing with some of my coaches, like, yo, we did 60 racks. And they was like, cool. So, and then the first time we made 60,000 in a day, I remember sharing that story too. Like, yo, we did 60K, we up. And they like, just give me the head nod, like, all right, when you ready. Cause I'm like, yo, who are these people I'm meeting now that
like it's cool for 60,000 in a day, right?
Wow.
Like, who are these people, man? So that's the wave. So when I met Gerald, I was like, yo, I'm definitely on that wave. Like, I need to be around people that's going to, you know, feed my soul, feed my entrepreneurial desires. Like, when I talk to them about, you know, just anything entrepreneurship, you know, they understand it versus I don't always have to be the teacher. I want to be the student. I'm here to learn. Like, I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to improve. I'm trying to step my game up. So, you know, that circle piece was real. So when I met Gerald, I instantly was like, man, I'm locked in.
That's powerful, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Powerful. Absolutely. And I loved what you was doing, man. I definitely believe in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely looking forward to making some strides with you, brother. So, yeah, pretty much from there, like you said, CEO Henry, pretty much you went into, from the referee, pretty much to skincare.
It was happening simultaneously. Like, I was refereeing, and refereeing was cool because I like sports. I got to be around young people. I was, you know, and I was setting my own schedule. So, like, I work this day, and I'm taking that day off. And, like, that freedom, man, it was they should have never gave me that freedom, man. Once I felt that freedom, I was like, damn. Like, I think refereeing one month, I made like $8,000, and I'm like, I just made $8,000 without a boss. Like, you can't go back from that. That experience for me, I couldn't go back. That experience, another experience I had, that really, like, and this is recent. Like, I think so. Last September, I had linked up with A. Donahue Baker. And he was kind of like mentoring and guiding me and giving me game. And I told him, I was like, yo, on my vision board, I was like, yo, I want to meet David Shands. So he was like, oh, I was talking to him on the phone one day. He's like, oh, you want to meet Dave? Oh, that's my man. He's like, yo, come out to Atlanta next week, buy a plane ticket, wear all white, I'll introduce you. So I'm like that? He's like that. I had no clue it was the Social Proof Podcast alumni dinner. So
wow,
Atlanta, it's some real struggles to get there. When he said it, he was like, "You gonna get the ticket?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm looking at my account like, "Oh, wife not gonna like this one."
Right, but I gotta get it done.
I get to Atlanta, get to my hotel at like midnight. They sold my room. I'm in College Park, walking around with a bag, D-boys everywhere, police everywhere. It's wild outside. I got no hotel to go to. I'm like, and I'm trying to keep my all white outfit clean for the event the next day.
Yeah.
Trying to figure it out. finally got my hotel room. Next day comes, I finally get to the event, and I didn't even know it was an event still. Like I'm thinking that like he's gonna introduce us, like we're gonna have lunch or dinner or something. Right. I didn't even know it's an event. I take an Uber downtown Atlanta. I hop out the car. I see him 500 in all white with some of his guys. He sees that I'm in all white. He's like, "Oh, what up, big dog? You must be here for the social proof piece." And I'm like, "Huh? I don't know what's going on. I'm just going. The universe is moving me. I'm going with it. I'm like, okay." So I'm like, him 500. So I'm like, "Yo, fam, I watched you on all." Like I'm starstruck. I was like, "Yo, this is cool." I get upstairs, and actually, A. Donahue Baker wasn't even there yet. Hurricane had happened that hit Jersey, and the flights got delayed, so he wasn't even going to be there for like another hour. And I was just +1 to get in. So when you get to the top of this elevator, it was a rooftop event, and you couldn't get in unless your name was on the list. So I'm like, oh. So I get in, and I like look down, and I see all these entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs, in all white, and I realize it's all these people that I've seen on all the podcasts, and like it was like, man, that was such a life-changing experience. Like I was linking with so many people. I sat at the table. Marquell Russell's at the table. A. Donahue Baker's there. Zoda Grace there. Skittles is there. Like all these people I've seen that are Black entrepreneurs I look up to. I'm like, yo, like Atlanta's there. It's lit. Nehemiah Davis is there. Ash Cash is there. Like I'm like, yo, I see y'all on such and such. And like and that experience for me, I was like, I didn't know Black people did stuff like this. Like this is crazy. Like, everybody's talking money. Everybody's talking business, and like folks is just moving around. Dave is there, his wife is there. Only person I get a chance to meet was Donnie. She had COVID at the time, so she wasn't there. But like this young boy pops up to me. He's like, "Yo, what's up, son?" I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" He's like, "Yo, man, what's your name?" I'm like, "Oh, brother Henry, whatever." Woo woo. He's like, "Yeah, I'm Trey. I work for David. I do such and such." He's like, "I'm 18." I was like, "You 18?" I'm like, "You made it to this event at 18?" I'm
like, what have I been all my life?
I'm like, yo, so it's like that for me was life changing, because I'm like, yo, I never seen us move like this, and I'm trying to like record, I'm taking pictures, I'm like linking with folks, I'm with 19 keys over here, I'm like, yo, I'm just hitting folks up, like, yo, I gotta tell you about my school. I met brother, what's his name, Dr. Jacob Taylor, and I'm sitting at the table with us, and he's complaining. And I've never heard this type of complaining on this level. He's like, "Man, on Tuesday we only did 1.8." And I'm at the table and I'm kind of like listening in. So I'm like, okay, I gotta be hearing this wrong. Let me see what he's saying. He's
like 1.8 what?
I'm like, yo, fam, when you say 1.8, he's like, no, you gotta understand. When we run this play, we make like $4 to $5 million a day. When we do this, we only did 1.8. The system broke. I gotta fix it, man. I can't go broke. Woo. And in my mind, I'm like, did you say 1.8 million? Like, yeah, 1.8 million. And I've never heard us talk like this before. They was talking spicy. I'm like, yo,
I'm gonna start sweating.
I'm like, 1.8 in a day is a bad day? He's like, terrible. I didn't know at that time. He was like, yo, I'm like, man, a month. I'm like, okay, now I can understand. Now I understand today. But at the time, I was like, just sitting in my seat, just my head hurting. Like, who are these people? Like, where have y'all been my entire life that I've been struggling, evictions, car notes, like what is going on that folks out here getting it like this? And from that event last year till now, skyrocket everything. Like once you see it, you can't go back. From that event till now, I'm like, okay, we finna jump in this 1%. From that event till now, I'm like, okay, we doing $500,000 6 months. Okay, we got to be able to touch $1 million, and like life changed. That event changed my life. Because the school, like, and the crazy part, I was telling people, I was like, you know, my man, I forget who was it. He was there. He had like a $25,000 Versace shirt on with like real gold woven into the white. And I'm like, you paid 25 racks for that? He's like, oh, yeah, he's like, I've been had this. This is nothing. I'm like, fam, this is different level. Right. This is different level. And it's so crazy just from being present in that event. Not that I linked up. I got everybody's number in my phone. I called, like I stayed in touch with folks. But just from being present in that event, coming back, the amount of money we were making and the stuff we were doing skyrocketed just from being present, just from seeing it, the different ideas and stuff I came back with. I'm like, yo, what if I ran this? Then all of a sudden I'm like, yo, and we just started making, I don't know, it's hard to put into words, but it's like, yo, once I seen it, I was like, there's no going back. Like, we got to get in this game. We got to figure it out. And from there till now, it's still less than a year. September ain't even popped up yet. So
wow,
my entrepreneurial journey, from September till now, has just been everything we worked hard for started manifesting itself from last September till now, just in a crazy way. Like more money than we ever made, like, you know, getting into stuff we never dreamed we'd get into, being able to meet people, like even being able to meet Gerald, for example. Like I wasn't the person that could meet to hold a conversation because of what I was doing entrepreneur wise, right? Like that's a new reality for me. So this is like new for me. This is all new for me. So when Gerald was like, "Get you on to the podcast," I'm like, "What? Huh? What you mean?" Like I've been on podcasts. I've probably been on like 50 podcasts. I was doing like 3 and 4 and 5 podcasts a week, and then we did me and my wife did Brain Picker podcast with David Shands and Donnie Wiggins, and I think we're gonna do a second one. And I was like, it's all this stuff is new to me. It's all new to me. Like this is it goes into the purpose of starting the school though. Me and my wife was like, what if we can collapse time for children? All those 20 years of struggle that I went through, all the time when I didn't know what Think and Grow Rich or how to win friends and influence people or Rich Dad Poor Dad, when nobody introduced none of that to me, what if we can collapse time for children and give it to them at a young age so they have it growing up, so all the struggle I went through, they can collapse all that time and they can start off at 18 killing where it took
that's brilliant
9 years, they can do it now in 18 years. And that for me, that's the purpose of the school. Like that's what our school is about.
That's brilliant.
Absolutely.
That is brilliant.
Man, that's phenomenal.
It definitely is.
That's brilliant.
You can even shift the conversation, because I know we was going through your journey primarily from skincare to, of course, the beauty salon, and then
absolutely
the schooling. And what I want to hit on, something you said very key, man, was the power that event changed everything for you. I speak on that all the time, especially our people in terms of entrepreneurs, because the same thing happened to me actually back in 2016. I actually had Marquell at the time, who you spoke on, actually invite me out to go to an event with him in Irvine, California, to learn more about internet marketing at the time. And we had just started the Rise of the 1%. So I didn't have a lot of capital on hand, a lot of resources. I'm having to move things around, but I'm like, I'm gonna get out there because my man invited me. So I get out there to the event, and the night before the event, it's not even at the event, the night before the event, me, Marquell, one of his clients, one of my clients came out too. We sit around the fireplace, and pretty much Marquell was asking me, what we had going in terms of the Rise of the 1% at that time. Like, who were we serving? What was our offer like? What was our pricing like? What marketing and sales strategies we was using? How was we servicing our clients? Things of that nature. And pretty much, long story short, for one, at that time, his advice was, we, for one, was doing a whole lot too much in terms of delivery, right? 2, our pricing structure was horrible at that time, right? So just by making a couple of tweaks, when I came back from that event, literally within days, I closed my first $5,000 deal. That was in 2016, right?
Wow.
And my belief went to a whole nother
big, boy.
Congratulations.
Over to Marquell in his inbox. He was like, brilliant, brother. Can I post this?
Right. Like, because it's good for me too.
You can, man. But from there, I mean, pretty much everything just went to a whole nother level. We did 6 figures within that year, and it's been history ever since then. But that's the power of events.
Yeah.
Right? And I see that, like you say about you going to that event a little over a year ago, I mean, everything's changed. I mean, just huge transformation. Seems like your belief, your confidence,
absolutely,
the level of execution has just went to a whole nother level. And by that, right, you're a whole lot more successful. You're able to impact people on a whole nother level. So that's some great stuff, man. I'm glad you shared that though, because I be speaking on that a lot in my videos and a lot of my content about we gotta continuously surround ourselves, around people who are as successful as we are, or a little bit, or even way more successful than we are.
Absolutely.
Right? To be able to get that information, be able to rub those shoulders, to stay inspired, to see what, the possibilities may be for us. And really go out and make it happen, man. So I'm glad you shared that with us, brother.
Absolutely. I got a coach, mentor, coach, friend that's a billionaire, and it's crazy because he just spoke at my school actually recently, and it's just the power of, like you said, those events. Like when I came back from the event, when I came back from that event and I was telling him about it, he was like, "Okay, bet, what do you need for your school?" And I was like, we just need, some different programs. Like, he got a whole business university. I'm like, "Can we get that?" He's like, "It's yours. It's done." And like, I was like, "Huh?" So I want to say this year he donated a $300,000 Python program to my school so my students can get certified. So when they leave school, if they would like to work in the tech industry, they can go to like Google or Apple or Samsung or Microsoft, and they can walk in starting at $150K at 18 based on this program he gave us for free. And it was to the effect of like, the people you are around, you never know what blessings the people, like, you got to surround yourself around people that's better than you, because those people, the synergy will lift you to be like them, because you're either going to become like them or they're going to put you out the circle.
Exactly.
Right, pretty much.
Me, I'm always trying to figure out, like, how can I stay in these circles? Like, what I got, you know what I'm saying?
Like, what I got to do on my end?
What I got to do on my end? What type of success stories do I need to come back with to let you know that I am taking the mentorship, the guidance, the training, and I'm trying to run with it and do everything I'm told to do? Like, that's how I feel about it. And that's what I seen from that event. Like, just the smallest of things, like, matter. For A. Donahue Baker, he'd be like, he said, he'll say like, "Yo, I just do my part, man. Like, you don't gotta always give me praise." But I'm like, "Fam, you don't understand. You changed my life with the invitation. Like, just the invitation, just that alone. Not the first time I met him, I called him. Actually, it's crazy how I got a chance to meet him, but I was trying to get in contact with him and I couldn't. And his team was blocking. You know how it is. Like, people give out numbers, but you got like a number to the team and you got like your personal number. I had the number to the team. So I was telling him about the school. I sent all this. I sent every social media, email, everything, phone calls. And somehow something got through. And he seen it. He was like, "Yo, I'm about to hit you in 5 minutes. What's the math?" So I'm like, "Yo, here's my number." And I sent him the number. We talking. And in the midst of me talking to him, like the first time meeting him, we talked on the phone for like an hour, me, him, and my wife. And it was like a family reunion. Like, he was the coolest, like, so down to earth. In the middle of us talking, he's like, "Hold on, I got a call on the other line." So I'm like, "All right, cool." We call. Then he comes back. He was like, "Oh, my bad. Spike Lee was calling. He needed such and such or whatever." But I told him I was on the phone with Kika first. I'll get back to you. Man, I must have ran through the house. I'm like, "Yo, he said Spike Lee." I'm like, "Yo."
Like, what you say?
Like,
wow.
huh? Like, you told Spike Lee about Kika first? I'm gone. And it's
Oh,
being around
wow.
people like that is like, it's just so life changing, man. Because it's like, yo, it made me realize, one, not only can you do it too, but like the people you're putting on your shoulders, you're equipping them so they can put people on their shoulders so they can take this thing further to the next level, man. Like, I really believe entrepreneurship can fix 95% of the problems in our community. If we own our own community, we push the drugs out, you know what I'm saying? The brothers that's in the street, we give them work. So now we're not killing each other. Like, the abuse of our women can be solved through entrepreneurship, right? If we empower the community with the things that we need, entrepreneurship can solve a lot of our problems, man. We just have to structure it, and we got to see it. We got to be able to, like the flea in a jar experiment with the flea, jumping, you put the glass top over the top. They only jump as high as that top till they see another flea. But if you introduce another flea back into that population that can jump at the normal vertical, all the other fleas that see it will jump at that vertical, but they have to see it first. And that's kind of how events are, man. That's how meeting people is. Like, once you see it, you're like, "Yo, I can do this."
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's powerful.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh.
And one thing I would say, Gerald always talk about the power of events, getting around in those circles around people, getting the knowledge, the information. And like, he's been doing this for years, and that's one of the things he instilled in me. And I haven't been to many events, but I always see the outcome, the benefits of it just through him. Because I remember, for example, he's in the mastermind right now. He's the only black guy in there. Right? The only black guy out of all these white people that's in there. He's the only black person in this big mastermind. Like, the stuff that we know now, all because he went out there to learn it. And now we have something so unique for the black community that nobody really have, that we got the knowledge because he's the one that took the leap of faith for the team, got the information, and now we know how we can service and better our clients and get more black people into that top 1% and really dominate. We got to build and close that wealth gap. And like that's why I always salute him for always, taking risks for the team and, investing his time, his energy, his money to get this information and always bringing it back and sharing it with the team. So now we know how we can structure everything and make it better for our clients. And once we help them get to where they need to be, now we all can grow as one and everybody just living life. And that's what it's all about. Like events are powerful. And I remember even when we was in network marketing, like we used to go to these events. And every time we came out there on fire, and we always had some type of progress than what we did when we came. So events are always powerful, man. So I definitely
like you
want to hit on that and share that because it really, if most people really take the time to really get the information if they really want it. So that's some great stuff, man. Yeah, you got a powerful story, man. I'm glad we got you on.
Right.
I know these people
Yeah, I'm like,
but this like, hey man, I'm super excited. Like I'm getting some aha moments and I'm getting chills. Like, right. This is big. So
man.
We got you on here, but I'm getting value just from hearing your story. Like, dang.
Absolutely.
Like, that's inspiring, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely, man. I knew when we started the school that the school was going to be bigger than us, but I didn't know how. I just knew that it was. I didn't know the how. I knew that it was. Matter of fact, I ended up getting in a car accident, right? I'm sitting at a light waiting for the light to change. One car had zipped through the intersection, hit another car that was turning. It flipped the car. The car lands on top of my car. Car gets crushed, right? And at the time, I didn't know nothing about this thing called gap insurance, right? So I lose my car. And I didn't have a car, but we trying to run a school and a beauty supply store. So a group of parents came to us like, yo, we know you don't have a vehicle, but you got to run these businesses. How about for tuition? We donate this old beater to the school, and that could be our tuition for the month. So I got this car. Mind you, I'm in Illinois. And if you've never been to Illinois, I need you to understand winter is real here, all right? This is like Game of Thrones winter. Winter is coming. It's real here, all right?
Right.
This car had no mirrors. The window only rolled up 7/8 of the way. It had a sunroof that didn't close all the way. Wow. It only blew heat out for like 1 minute at a time. Then it started blowing cold air out. And I listen. Anything that can go wrong did go wrong with this car, right? But we got this car, and at the time I was like, we can either take the money we have and get a new car, but it's going to cost us on the school, and we may lose the school, or the school got to keep going, and we just got to drive this beater, and we just got to figure it out. And we pushed this beater through an Illinois winter, which is insane. Only God could have carried us through this thing. Like if I didn't believe before, after driving this car, I was a true believer, right? We drove this thing through the winter time. It got to the point where it was just bad. So we were saving to go get another vehicle, but we had to drive it. And it's crazy because people were seeing us like, yo, don't you own a beauty supply store and a school? You own multiple businesses and you driving that? Like, yo, it was like the ego, right? Because for me, I took the ego out of it. I was like, listen, I know down the road this school's gonna make us millionaires. I just can't prove, like other people can't see it. So I don't care if I gotta drive this beater. I don't care. We was all bundled up in the car. Like the defrost didn't work. So we had to get cups of coffee and put them in the window to try to dethaw the windows so we could drive to go places. And this sometimes it wouldn't start. We just have to sit and wait for it to start. Like we tried, it turned over. No, we're like, all right, we'll try again 10 minutes later. We'll try again. Crazy story. The day I decided to go buy a new car, I'm driving this beater to my beauty supply store. I'm gonna park it. I got to the intersection right in front of my beauty supply store and it completely just went out. And my guy that was coming to take me to buy the new car had to help me push it out of the intersection into our beauty supply store parking lot so he could take me to Chicago to go get the new car that we was going to get. But it was a faith check. Like, yo, how bad do you want it? Like, if you say that you want it, if you say educating these children is where it's at, if you say that this is how it's going to be, like, what's your belief level like? And for me, it's refreshing to look back and know that, like, back then we knew, like, this school is going to be revolutionary. We're going to change education for Black children across the country. And now seeing what some of our students are able to do, you know, it was all worth it. You know what I mean? Like we had a young boy, like 13 years old, doing like $1,000 a week in books. Like, and for him, it was nothing. He was like, yo, yeah, I just go to the little pop-up event. I tell them my age. Once they find out I'm a 13-year-old published Black author, all my books sell out in the first hour and I'm out. I'm like, yo, fam, you making $1,000 a week. Me as a grown man,
right? Even he's making more than his parents. Yeah,
making more than his parents. His parents like, yo, can we pay tuition? I'm like, yo, tuition paid for off of your books. So
right.
Just being able to see these success stories. You know, we took a group of students to Atlanta to go to Marquell's event, and they able to see and talk and touch and feel and taste Black excellence, and it's life changing. Students come back, and all of a sudden they start sending you messages like, "Yo, I just made $1,000. Made $1,000. What you do? What you do? Let me.
Stop that, man.
You know,
That's
so
dead.
it's crazy. Like but understanding that, like, yo, you know, it's bigger than us at this point, and it's really about community, man. And we brought everybody from, you know, Antonio T. Smith, who's the billionaire I was talking about, Marquell, of course, A. Donahue Baker, man. Like we've gone, like, anybody that I can get to come speak to our babies, we bring them in, and that's part of what makes it so beautiful is we pull on entrepreneurs from across the country. I told Gerald, like, day one, I was like, yo, I need you to come speak to my students. Because I understand it ain't about me. I can't feed them everything that they need. I don't even know it, and I don't even want to know it. But if I can bring you the people that's doing it, and not even everybody that's doing it big, we bring them smaller people too, so they can see, like, yo, this is somebody in their first stages of entrepreneurship. This is somebody after 1 year. This is somebody after 2 years. These are millionaires. These are founders. These are CEOs. And we feed them. And man, people feed into them so many different opportunities. Like, you get to see Black bank owners or digital marketers or whatever it is that they're doing, all these different avenues of entrepreneurship. It really opens up the children's minds. So, like, for us, man, that's one of the most beautiful parts of seeing them. I had a young boy say, Black people own banks? When A. Donahue Baker was speaking, he was like, I never knew we could own a bank. And like, you could just see on his face, like, his whole program and just be reprogrammed, like, I could own a bank. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a beautiful feeling, man. It's like a natural high that you just cannot replace.
Yeah.
Wow.
Love it. I love it.
Wow.
That's huge, man.
Yeah.
That's huge, man. Yeah.
Talk about closing the wealth gap for sure.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I wish we had something like that when we was growing up.
Man, who you telling?
Me personally, man, I wanted to be an entrepreneur since I was like 6th, 7th grade, you know, so if that would have been around when I was coming up, I know I would have been one of your students.
And then it would have been, it would have been more people interested. You know what I'm saying too? Because keep in mind, a lot of us are raised by parents that work, so that's all that they knew. If they had like something else alternative, would they be game for it? Yeah.
Right.
And then we could have been learning different things like this as a kid, which that's life changing. Because like you say, you're taking these kids that would have never had this opportunity ever to be able to learn this type of stuff. That's powerful, man.
We do Black History every week, right? Because a lot of the schools that either don't do Black History or they get this watered down MLK Rosa Parks, like that's the only thing Black people did. So something that was really unique for our school, we got invited to Tulsa, Oklahoma for the 100th centennial of Black Wall Street. And so we were the only school that was there. And they donned our school as the future of Black entrepreneurship. And they got to meet with like the different celebrities and the different panels. And they got to go on OSU. And they got to, I forget the brother's name, but he's the brother who was like the first like politician who started the call for Black Wall Street to be revealed in the public. And like that we took like maybe 20 students to Tulsa, Oklahoma for that event. And like life-changing stuff, man. Like life-changing stuff. Like I didn't even know, even right there on Pine and Greenwood in Black Wall Street, where OSU now has a baseball field. They said when they went to go dig up the baseball field, they found a mass pit of bodies, of Black bodies that they had underneath the baseball field, where they put the baseball field on top. And like the reason Black history becomes so important is because it's making money is cool, but if you make money and it's not connected to your people, it's not connected culturally, then you're gonna go, Louis Vuitton gonna get rich, Gucci gonna get rich, the Rim store gonna get rich. Everybody else is we're gonna make all this money for other people instead of putting that money back into our own community. So that's part of the solution. Like we gotta teach our babies about ourselves, our people, our history, our culture, where we come from. You know, Black people wasn't invented just during slavery, but when you look at the school books, most of the public schools, Black history starts at slavery. So if you only see yourself as a slave, you don't really see, you know, how can I be great in the future? You got to make the connection. Like, no, Black people, we're great people, you know, and give them the history across the world of Black people in China, Black people in Mexico, Black people in Peru, Black people, you know, across the world. And when our students start to see it, they develop a love. So as they're making money now, the money is connected to a consciousness. And now the money and the consciousness, now we can start to solve problems in our community, because it's not just the money. Everybody not running out to get the latest gold chain, and you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Wow.
I agree.
Oh yeah.
I
got chills.
Give it to other people's communities.
Right.
Yeah. So tell me this, CEO Henry, like what are some of the things you all cover in the school in reference to entrepreneurship? I know you all helped them with writing their book. Absolutely. What are some of the things that you all help them cover? And I know you say as well, you all collapse time frames instead of them having to be in school for so many years. Like we have to go for 18 years or so, in terms of like, elementary, middle, high school, what have you. You all are able to collapse time frames. So how do you all go about doing that?
All right, so a couple things that we do. Academically, the system that we use academically allows them to complete multiple grades in 1 year if they want to advance. Or if they're behind, we can catch them up. We can fill it. We give them an assessment that catches the gaps in their education. Once we fill in the gaps and bring them to where they should be, they can still speed ahead if they want to. So for if a student starts with us in kindergarten and they graduate at 18, we probably didn't do our job right? Because that means that we didn't advance. That student wasn't allowed to advance at their own pace. If they come with us from kindergarten, all of our kindergartners out of this year already bypassed first grade when we tested them. They were already almost all of our kindergartners that just learned how to read. We tested them at the end of the year. They did kindergarten, first grade, and they're tested into the end of second grade. So once we retest them when they come back, if we can start them in third grade, they're going from kindergarten to third grade, right? So academically collapsing time, right? On the entrepreneurship side, one of the big things is most of the guest speakers that we bring in will offer to do mentorship for our children. They'll pick like maybe 2 or 3 children that can do mentorship. So imagine my daughter has a free mentorship with what's Marquel with Dre, with Andre Gaskin. So first of all, I'm salty. I'm at the event with them. He like, not only here's my email, here's my number, stay in contact. I'm gonna help show you how to do all your marketing. I'm gonna show you how to do everything that we do on this side, and I'm gonna walk you through the process. So my daughter now, not only does she have access to Client Attraction University, she has access to Andre directly, and Marquel loves my daughter. So she has access to Marquel and Andre, and they can teach her stuff that I don't know, which is so for her specifically, collapsing time now, right? We brought in this brother, I can't remember his name, but he creates apps. And he was showing the children how easy it is to create apps. They're doing Python, they're learning coding, they're learning how to work computers. And he's showing them, once you learn this, I can take you here. And now you collapse all this time that it took me going to school. So I went to school for 4 years, I can teach it to you in 4 months. So
gotcha.
Our children are getting entrepreneurship and in the subject that they're interested in. Right. Real estate. Exactly. We got a lot of people for real estate. Like, real estate. Here's the play. You're not old enough to get credit yet, but we're gonna start working on your credit. We're gonna add you to these trade lines. We're gonna get your parents. Oh, your parents' credit not right. We're gonna work on your parents' credit. We're gonna teach you now how to start helping people with their business credit, even though you're not old enough to have it yet. We're gonna have you doing it. So by the time you turn 18, you're walking out with like an 800 credit score. You have LLCs in your name, and now you're getting property at 18 years old. And you're coming into the real estate game, understanding passive income at 18, where most of us don't get that until our 20s and 30s. So we talk about collapsing time. It's like, children are not, just because they're children doesn't mean you can't talk to them like adults. We should talk, we talk to children like adults, and we collapse that time period. So now that they're learning it younger and they're understanding the concept, they're moving faster with it, right? And so these children can be as successful at 18, 19, 20 years old as a lot of us, it took us all of our 20s and all of our 30s to get to. So,
That's so true.
Wow.
That's great stuff. I love it.
Man, it's powerful.
I love it. Like I said, I wish this type of stuff we learned.
Right, man.
Facts.
Man, now that would have been great. Because
absolutely.
Us, like, just get a job for 40-some years. You'll be fine. Baby, just get you a government job and work there, and everything will be okay. No, it don't.
Man.
If this would have been around, I would have been like, I could do this, I could do that. Because I've always been like the little oddball kid. I like tech stuff, And they were like, why does she like that type of stuff? Yeah, I would have been like, oh, $1 million in a day? Oh, come on, we can do better than this, people. They could have been me.
Absolutely. I just heard Nehemiah Davis talking about this, and he was talking about the solution to ending poverty. And in his solution to ending poverty, he's like, yo, what if we give it to children at a young age? And I was like, yo, Neil, you follow our page, man. I'm going to need you to hit me back up. I'm going to have to call David.
Exactly. It has to be, you introduce it to them young. You'll be like, and it's almost like you say, it's a way of life for them. So they'll start to pick this stuff up way faster. They'll be like, oh, okay, this is just what I'm supposed to do. But if we would have had this, man,
I told my wife, and we just had a discussion yesterday, because I guess since COVID, jobs are looking for people. We went to Burger King yesterday to get our daughter some a snack pack or whatever, and there was a 14-year-old working in the drive-thru. So I was like, "You're 14 working at Burger King?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, well, my daughter's 12. She about to be 13. I'm like, "Yo, we can get you a permit. We're gonna force both of my daughters to work at like Burger King or something like that on as many hours as they'll allow children to work, so they can understand the other side of entrepreneurship, so they can see why they should be in love with it." Because the other side is if children get it from the beginning, or if they come from families that have it, they may not understand the value of like, yo, on the other side of this entrepreneurship thing, there's this job. I need you to see how it feels to have to clock in, to have a boss talk to you, tell you when you can go to the bathroom, to have your freedom stripped because you got to follow their rules. You gotta assimilate to what they want. So I think that's important too for children to understand and get that lesson. Like, yo, the grass ain't greener on the other side. Like, you come, we're doing this for y'all so that you can have what we never had when we was children. And that, for me, that's what I literally, all the new stuff we come up with in the school. Like we added aviation to the school. We clicked up with another organization that's going to do aviation for our children, and if they stay in this program, they'll be able to get scholarships to go to school to become pilots and stuff like all these different aspects we're able to add to it. Literally, I just say to myself and my wife, we're like, yo, what would we have wanted in school when we was children? Yeah. Every time we think of something new, we like bring it to the school. Like bring it, and we'll figure it out once we get it there. But bring it, give it to the children and give them that opportunity, because it doesn't just impact the children, it also impacts their families.
Right.
That's the livelihood of their families.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I told one mother, I was like, yo, if y'all killing it like this in the book game, but your job, you're only making this amount of money, so you're actually losing money by not investing in your child's book sales. Like if you do this full time, not only can you make the money from the books, now you can set up speaking engagements. And the way one of the benefits we give our children, we learn this lesson. This is, nobody steal this, but somebody probably will. Right? When you
you know they will. Will.
When you're selling a book, right? A book is a lifetime asset, but if you add to your book what they consider curricula to the back of your book, then your book now becomes an educational document, which means you can sell it to schools, school districts, you can sell it to people in education, and the title funding will pay for it. So it don't even got to come out of their pocket. You just have to be able to present it. So every single one of our children, when we publish their book, we add curricula to their books. And what a lot of our children do, the schools they came from or whatever the case may be, they'll go back and sell to their school. And I'm like, yo, if you get that contract going, leverage it to get another contract with another school. And literally, by the time you get out of school, if you got 10 schools that you sell your book to every year, and you're doing speaking engagements at those schools, and we're showing you how to make $5,000 to $10,000 a speaking engagement, you can literally live off these books that you made in school and do what you want to do when you get older, figure it out. All right. So it's like those type of plays for our young people. Man, I remember the Walmarts, the Lowe's, the telemarketing, the factory jobs. Yeah. I remember all of that.
Yeah.
Just wishing somebody would have came to me like, yo, run this play. Like that's simple.
Like do this. And be like, oh, okay. But it wasn't like that.
Right.
It was not like that, man. Oh gosh. I just wish this type of stuff was around when I was younger, because it just didn't exist. I mean, well, at least I didn't know anything about it if it did, but yeah.
I didn't know anything about it. And right now we're working with Marquell to bring one of these to Atlanta, and we're working in Houston with my man Red Hat from Bring Forth Consultancy Group and Support Black Entrepreneurs to open up our flagship school in Houston. So we're gonna make Houston even though our school in Rockford is good, the population isn't big enough to support like a flagship model. So we're going to open up our flagship model in Houston, and the goal is to have it open by fall of 2023. So we'll be opening 2 more, and from there we'll expand it. We'll probably we'll get into franchising and all those things, but we want to push this across the country, and especially in our neighborhoods, and show our people that you can run one of these schools. You don't necessarily have to depend on like government funding. You can use real estate and other things to create passive income, leverage your position as an educator. For me, it's hilarious. I just signed a contract for like $102,000 as a principal of my school, right? My little brother went to school for like 7 years. He's a principal. So I was like, yo, what you make? He was like, yo, I'm making 109. I was like, I'm making 102, and I didn't do none of the background stuff that you did. I collapsed time. And I'm like, yo, how much passive income is your principal job bringing you? He's like, none. So you start looking at the principal of the other money that we make in the school, because we make money 8 ways in the school. I'm like, yo, we're killing you on that side. So it's not just the education. Like, we help each other out. Like, I help him with his entrepreneur stuff. He helps me with principal stuff, because I don't got no background in education like that, right? I'm 100% entrepreneur. But that shows the reality, though, that as a community, we don't necessarily, like, the things we think we need, we don't. Like, people always say to us, like, they let you build a school. Nobody let me do anything. We just did it. Like, we're got it done. This is not a plantation. We're free. Like, we just got to believe and know that we can accomplish anything that we set forth in our mind, like that we can make it happen. We just got to know that for a fact. And once it clicks to us, like, yo, we could do anything, then the sky becomes the limit. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. I agree.
Put Dallas on the radar. Dallas need one.
Oh man, listen, I'm trying to pull up everywhere. We trying to push this thing. Like, I'm trying to get this thing from the East Coast to the West Coast. Like, exactly. I feel like this is my life's purpose and my life's work. And one thing I learned, I don't know if I mentioned, I'm in the nation, right? So one thing I learned from the minister is, he said to us, it's not about the money per se, right? You want to make money, but what's more valuable is the commodity that you bring to the community. And in Black businesses, if you look at our history from BET to like, you know, our magazines, you know, Motown, like when we have Black businesses that get successful at a certain level, they typically, other communities and other cultures will come to us to buy our businesses. Exactly. And we take the money, but really the power and the access is in the actual business itself. So we gotta understand business is warfare, and it's more valuable to our children for us to control this narrative than to sell the school off. Because people have already approached us like, yo, what would you such and such? Like, no, we're not selling this for that. Like, no, we not. It's for us. It's not about selling a school to make some money for ourselves. I'm like, yo, I'm from the bottom. So I'm used to, I can survive. You know what I'm saying? So what we're doing now, this is next level stuff to me, but it's not about selling off a school so that you can take the school and make it like the other schools that don't feed our community. This school is about changing our community from within, you know, without pointing fingers and blaming other people. Okay, cool. We know we don't got the boats, the planes, the trains for the drugs to get here, but we're not going to complain about it. Instead, we're going to work from the inside and push it out from the inside. Right? Because if we control the policing, if we control the businesses, if we control the areas in our neighborhoods, if we control that, it won't get in the first place. You don't ever go to you don't go to like a Chinatown in any other city across the world and see like dope dealers or nothing, because they control their neighborhood. You don't go to Jewtown, you don't go to Little Korea, you don't go to Little Mexico, you don't go to none of that. They control their neighborhoods. We can do the same thing. We got to have a power base. It's got to be economic. And then, you know, our spiritual, like every other community, we put our spiritual base out front and put our merchants in the back. Every other community put their merchants out front and had their spiritual people in the back. And we got to get like other communities where our unity is more important than anything else. So that's that's really the wave we on, man. That's the wave we on.
I love it. Whew. I love it, man.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Agree on everything you just spoke on. Definitely.
Yes,
definitely. So what we'll do, CEO Henry, is explain a little bit about the program that you're working on rolling out in terms of helping other people as well, are in schools, like private schools. Talk a little bit about that. And then any questions that Charlotte and Antonio, if y'all have any other questions, anything y'all want to speak on, y'all can, and then we'll get ready to wrap in a second.
Bet. So one thing we realized when building out our school is that it's not difficult to build a school. It's only difficult because, like, when we first started and we went and looked it up, they said $1 million. I'm like, yo, we don't got $1 million to build a school. If you think about the Black community before integration in America, our schools could have been under a tree with Big Ma teaching kindergarten through high school. Didn't even exist at that time because high school was a new invention from like the 30s or something like that. So there was no high school. And it was Big Ma under a tree teaching her children. All the bells and whistles don't make education, right? In my city, all 4 high schools are labeled national dropout factories, meaning you have less than 60% of the students you started with make it to senior year, right? And a lot of our schools are like that, where our children drop out or they graduate, but they can't read, write, or count. So for us, for people that are interested in starting their own school, I realized instantly, I was like, yo, 2 things. Number 1 is mindset. Because when I work with clients that are educators don't necessarily have the entrepreneur mindset. So you got to work on mindset because you got to understand that you can do this. Where our educators are used to working within a system that's controlled by somebody else, and they give the best that they have to give, but they're not used to having full autonomy to control your own thing. So for educators, they got to learn the entrepreneur mindset. They got to read Think and Grow Rich. You got to read How to Win Friends and Influence People. You got to listen to Eric Thomas. You got to hear Les Brown. You got to study Tony Robbins. You have to hear these things that are going to free your mind and set your mindset that you can do and be anything, right? On the entrepreneur side of that same equation, if you're an entrepreneur, we don't understand that, like, whatever business I have, let's say I have a digital marketing business, right? Okay, I'm doing digital marketing, but we don't understand that because, okay, how can I say this? We don't understand that, the whole thing about multiple streams of income. And we say that people say on one end, you should have multiple streams of income, but a stream is different than a little creek, right? So I got this from Mark Quell. I'm not a proponent of multiple businesses unless you master a business, but one business itself can have multiple streams.
Exactly.
So what my message to entrepreneurs is having a school does not take away from your stream. Having a school will actually amplify whatever business model you're doing, right? If you're in a fashion, imagine you had a school full of children that you could teach fashion to. Now you have them, their parents, and the community that you're building around that concept as clients that will help do free advertising for you, right? Wow. Because your avatar now is being serviced through these people that are your living examples. You got testimonies, and you have new testimonies coming in every single year just from having this. In addition, there's so much money in education that if you leverage the education portion, you can use the education side to fund whatever your business is. So if you're in fashion, but you small time, well, go ahead, get you leverage your position within owning your own school to fund your business. And now you have personal income coming in, business income coming in, you have client community, you have the service that you are giving to these children, and these children are now reflections of you. So now, if you talk about building a business from the inside out, if I'm in fashion and I got 25 children that want to get into fashion that graduate from my school, now have internships for 25 people. And you have a relationship with them. They already respect you. They already know what you gave them. You talking about blowing a business up. If you have that community with you, now you can blow up from the inside, right? You're literally creating the infrastructure for your business. So any business is good because none of our children know this stuff. It's not being taught in our community. Like, just pick an industry, whatever industry that you're in. You might do email marketing. If you teach children email marketing, everybody got an active campaign set up, or whatever they got going, right? And they doing emails and they learning how to convert, and they're learning how to have sales, and imagine how that can change an entire community, right? And it's not you leaving your business, it's you giving your business to other people who just happen to be smaller adults. They're not adults yet, they're smaller, right? But even by the time you get to high school, now it's clicking. By the time you get to high school, 6th, 7th, 8th grade and forward, it's clicking for these young people, and you can blow your business up. So I realized that, and I was like, yo, we got to teach this to people. Like, we got to show people that you can build a school. It doesn't cost you a lot of money to build a school, and the school can literally turn your life around. So we went from the first 2 years we ran the school, we made nothing, up to more recently, like $500,000 in half a year, right? So it's like, yo, you got to understand that the money's there. And the thing is, there's billions of dollars in education that they earmark for the Black community, or they say urban communities, right? Use the language they use. But if you're not qualified to get it, You don't even know that you have access to all this money for all these different things. Like, you just don't know because you're not qualified to get that money. But once you understand the positioning, you're like, yo, I need some of that. Like, I need some of that on every rip, right? And so right now, our school has become the largest Black-owned business, I guess the largest employer that's of any Black-owned businesses in our city just through education. Because we've been able to leverage our position in education that now we can get. I don't know what the average is. I think we're a little under average, but our teachers can make $40,000 or $50,000 a year at a private school without having an educational background. Like, I want to say only 1 or 2 of my teachers have a background in education. The rest are like entrepreneurs that we can give $40,000 or $50,000 to. And not only that, we've been able to hire other businesses, like not an individual, hire other businesses to hire more people so everybody can eat. So there's a lot of power in having an institution, because your institution can compete on different levels that just your. When I had my beauty supply store, I wasn't a threat. Like, it's cool, I'm selling hair, it's whatever. When I got my school, I started realizing different people came to me to have different conversations, right? The mayor of our city speaks at our school, supports our school, donates to our school, the state representatives, the senators, like different levels of conversation when I come to different tables now, because a school is an institution. In Illinois, where we're at, there's only 3 Black-owned private schools, and we're the 3rd, and we're the only one that's K-12. Because for most of us, the idea of running a K-12, we're like, I don't have the background, I don't have the time, the patience, I just don't have whatever. It's not as hard as you think. It's just, you gotta understand that. It's like anything else. Once you see the structure, you're like, I could do that. Yeah, that's easy to do. So we decided, let's start coaching people and teaching people how to do this. Even if you start smaller, you may do K-5, or you may start whatever. But once you understand the power of having an institution, institutions are different than just a business. A business is going to serve you, your family, it's going to service your community with whatever you're offering. But an institution, that is just different. An institution is how you get into governing. And so that's when, institutions, when I go to certain meetings, I don't talk to like certain people. I like, no, take them to your boss. Like, I am a boss. I need to talk to the boss. I need to talk to the ultimate decision maker. I don't have time to talk to the person who talks to the person who talks to the person who talks to the person. Like, take me to the boss. And so I'm in those meetings, and in those meetings, you see and hear stuff a lot differently than when you're on a different level. But that's from having an institution. And when I get there, just like Gerald, I'm in these meetings, and it's just me. It's just me, and I'm looking around. You're the only one. But they're discussing us, though. That's the crazy thing. They're discussing
your livelihood.
But I'm the only one there. So I'm like, and as a Black man, unfortunately, we're a threat just from being males. So, you can't be no punk. Business is warfare. You gotta read The Art of War, understand it, study it, and apply it. Business is warfare. And being in those rooms, though, it lets you see the value of what you can bring back to your community. So that story about Gerald bringing it back is perfect. Like, we try to do the exact same thing. Everything I get on the educational side, bring back and show our clients. So, listen, you can do this. You can make this happen, and you can do it like this. Absolutely. Right? And with virtual schooling too now, you can run a school virtually and still check the bag. And if you don't got the money to do the things you want to do, use your virtual school to fund your physical school. And it's easy, as long as you got results. All you need is receipts. If you got results is what matter. Right? Results is what matters. So
it is.
So that's where that's at.
Man. Oh, this was good, y'all.
Man, that's big.
I knew it was gonna be good. I knew it. I'm like, y'all, we've been out here for a long time, and we could go on for some more hours.
Absolutely. Man. All day.
This was phenomenal.
You're right.
Man, I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be here.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, Charlotte and Antonio, do you all have any questions, anything you all want to speak on in reference to the conversation we had with CEO Henry today?
Man, I don't think so. I think he pretty much covered it on my end, because I'm just in awe right now. So
right.
We probably, we probably gonna have to do another part to this.
Right.
We're gonna have to do another part to this for y'all, because this is some mind blowing type stuff. But keeping again, like the young folks, like growing up in the 70s and 80s and in the 90s too, we didn't know none about this stuff.
Yeah.
So this is new to us, but this is something that can, when we talking about the generational wealth gap and closing it, this is how you do it.
Absolutely.
So we got to come back and do this again. But no questions right now. But I know some people that's gonna be watching the live gonna have some for sure.
Watching the replay
when they watch the replay.
Absolutely. Definitely. Antonio, you good on your end?
Yeah, man, I'm good, man. This was a phenomenal interview, man. Thank you for blessing us with your presence, man. Like, man, you really shared some gems with us, man. Like, I'm in awe, man. I got a lot of aha moments. Like, bro, your story is powerful, man.
Thank
I'm
you,
excited, man. We glad to have you on, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Gotta do this again.
And definitely appreciate you again, CEO Henry. Thank you, brother, for coming on. I knew from our initial connection, like I told you on that first call, I felt your spirit. I felt your genuineness. I felt that you're really going out here and making a huge impact in terms of the Black youth and the entrepreneurial community as a whole. I love what you're doing. I hadn't heard anyone else, and I do calls with a lot of owning businesses, and I never had heard this type of idea concept that you've adopted.
Beautiful.
So I definitely love it, brother. Any way that we can support in terms of the rise of the 1%, we definitely be supporting as well. And definitely love to bring you back on in the future and keep doing what you're doing, brother. And what I would say, CEO Henry, any information you want to share in terms of like those that watch this live or watch the replay where they can find you or connect with you, you definitely can share that as well.
Absolutely. You can find my school. I'll spell it out because I know it's Kika First Academy. Kika First is not Swahili. It's like Kiki, like from the hood, Kiki. www.KIKIFERS Academy, KikaFirstAcademy.org. That's our school's website. If somebody's interested in building their own school, you can always go to www.workwithceobrohenry.com and book an appointment with me, and we'll get you going on that end. And we definitely have some campaigns and things that my marketing team is running. I got to get it from them. But if you follow us on Instagram at Kika First Academy, and that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely, brother. But definitely appreciate you again, CEO Henry. Man, we definitely got to do this again in the future because I love to hear the progress.
Right.
Absolutely.
With the entire movement in the school and, of course, your program as well. So definitely appreciate you again, brother.
Thank you.
And
my honor.
What'd you say?
I said it's my honor to be here, man. I'm happy to be here, man. This is beautiful.
Absolutely. No problem at all. Thank you again. And for anyone that's watching this as well, drop in your comments below. If you're watching live or watch the replay, any of your biggest takeaways. If you got any questions, you can drop them below. And also, feel free to share this around with anyone else you feel could benefit as well.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
And outside of that, we'll definitely see you all next time. Thank you again, CEO Henry.
Thank you, brother.
Love it.
Absolutely.